Hey guys, it's Biff, and this is Fearless Mods. So today we just got done with Nor'easter number 4, and it's already mostly melted. 10 inches of snow last night. You can see how much snow was on the cars here as I clean off the Trans Am. Good Lord. It's afternoon, mid-afternoon, and the roads are pretty much already dry, and this stuff just slides off. It's incredible. It didn't look like it was going to be this way today, last night when we were looking at it. But I'm really excited. So today we are going to get the Subaru started with the quarter panel. Gonna grab some food, hit the road, go pick up a quarter panel in York, Pennsylvania.
Filet meal, medium to medium diet coke.
Yeah, you betcha. Military discount, right? Awesome, thank you. I'm gonna go pick that up. We got a piece of cardboard back here so we can throw it in the back of the truck. It's a little wet and rainy, so it'll probably come back soggy, but at least it won't be scratched up in the bed of the truck. So, thanks, man. It's Friday, fillet of fish. All right, good to go. Thanks. Wow, holy hell. So that's a 2.5 hour drive that culminates with a 4-mile trip through York, Pennsylvania and freaking bumper to bumper traffic in rush hour, only to find out that it's not at this store. It is actually at another store in Douglasville, Pennsylvania. So I get to go there now, about an hour and 15 east, he says, and at least it's supposedly back towards from whence I came. Would have been nice to know. All right, stopping to get some my second fillet of fish of the day, and I want to strap this down a little bit better. Get a look at it under the light too. You know what? I've never done this before. This is the first time for sure, and it has been a, you know, I knew it was going to be the last project that I did and on this car, at least the last big one, and probably the biggest undertaking that I will have done. I've never done body work other than replacing body panels, which is obviously much easier than body work. So this is a new one for me. Quick shout out to Chris from B is for Build. Thanks to the Plan B BRZ and how he tackled that left rear quarter panel on it. I've reviewed all of his lessons and I'm going to give it a shot. So let's go ahead and get started on this baby. It may not be done in one episode, but we're going to get after it. Okay, let's take a closer look at this here, so I can show you, at least on the back part, what I think I'm going to have to do. So on the BRZ, he ended up it seemed like he ended up cutting it like along here and around the back somehow and across. But what I'm liking here is, see if I can get this to set up. So you can clearly see, try to get you to clearly see it, that there's overlap here, right, and some spot welds here, and I'm going to be taking all these out, and it comes up around the edge here, right, so it's just that little tab, and then it comes on down around the side, and then as you come around that side, it is this piece right here that comes all the way up and around, but it comes all the way down to the bottom. So I'll chisel out this seam sealer, and then there's some overlaps here. So the good news, that what I like about this is this entire bottom piece here that we were working with before is all going to be part of the new quarter. So all the way up here to the rear fender piece, right up to here. as it comes up here, and then you have some more seam sealer and spot welds come up around here, and then we get to the bottom part where we'll figure out how to come across here and then see how much of this goes. It looks like it'll be the same all the way up to here. It's exterior, but it's where the body side molding goes on, so there's no real concern about this being super pretty, just as long as it meets up appropriately. We'll get these here all the way up around the edge of this, all the way up to there. This part obviously will need to look pretty because that's where it's going to be exterior body panel as it comes up, approximately right in here. So I've got most of the seam sealer chiseled away, and I have hit most of the spot welds. There's some I can't see. I need to get a wire brush to be able to go along and clean up not only the seam sealer but also the edge where the spot welds are, because it'll make it easier to find them. Some of them where they've smeared the seam sealer along the seam kind of masks some of the spot welds. But I'm using this tool that from Harbor Freight. I did use it on the structural stuff up here at the front of the car. The issue with some of that was it was some pretty thick steel, so it worked a little bit, but not to the extent that that I hoped it would, and I ended up just drilling some of those spot welds out. But with this one being a thinner sheet metal, and mostly I'm just going through the outer layer here to get out the go around the outside of the spot. So I've gone along and I've center punched all of them, and now the idea is just to get in here with this. It's just like a hole saw with a centering spike on it that's spring loaded, so that you can push in on it. So you get into where you put the center punch, nice and even pressure down, and then you can push that like this and apply just a little bit of pressure with your hole saw to go through. And then I could even tell on there when I'd gone through, because it started to push the inner layer a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put on some protective goggles and go ahead and zip around as many of these as I can get. So these are going to be interesting because they are actually my piece of metal's underneath this one and this one. So I'm going to have to go probably, how do I want to do this? At least through the first two layers, which is going to leave a big nub, which is going to be hard to get it to pull out, but we'll see. Alright, what I've discovered here is there's a lot of seam sealer up in here. So you can see it up in there. And so as I pull this apart, I had to get up in here with a chisel a little bit and drive it back in there to break that seam sealer there loose. Big old chunk of it right there. What I'm trying to do is make sure that I'm not damaging, I want to learn more on this piece than on that. So even though on this piece I can damage stuff that's not part of the piece that I'm pulling off, I don't want to,
because I'm not going to want to damage it on the car when I pull it off. So I'm trying to be very methodical about how I go about this as I work my way around. But so far we've got it loose pretty much from here all the way around to here. That's just seam sealer, which I've chiseled away and should pop off pretty easy. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and start working on these spot welds around that side.
You hear that little pop? Sometimes you can hear that little pop.
Yeah, when the different layers come apart.
Yep. How's that come out?
Like that.
Oh, there's 2 spot welds there too.
It's a good thing you took that out.
It's a good thing I took it out.
Would have taken a while to find.
That the right side of it is towards whatever area that I can track across. Because if it was tracking over to here, I'd be crying. But it's tracking over to here. I still don't like it.
Let's see if any of these will pop loose now.
There we go, got that one. There we go, perfect. So remembering what Chris had to do to take his windshield off and that foam that's in there, I see what he's talking about. I'm going to get a blade in there. It should be pretty easy from this angle. In fact, I've got the same type of box cutter that he was using, so let's see if we can come in right here. It should be pretty easy, hopefully. Okay, I'm going to try to show you this. So here, you can see underneath here that there are spot welds under here. So getting to where I can see them from the top and drill them out is going to be the challenge. That's where I need a wire brush to be able to get all of that ground away so I can see it. But then right here, so if you look at the back part, as it comes up around the edge, spot weld there, wraps up around here with just some seam sealer, and then spot weld, so you can see them working their way up here, and then this goes down. I can see the line that comes over and then up. So that's the piece I want to get. I do have a wire wheel. All right, let's make short work of this. All right, so now we can see at least a little more. Let me see here. You can see one there, a couple down here. So we can kind of see these here a little better. There's probably one in between those two that I'm not seeing. And these I'm having a little more trouble seeing, but they're there. We'll find them from the backside and mark them on the front. see if there's a razor blade trick. Oh my gosh. More welds. So the razor blade trick helped me find out that there are more welds. It feels like something's hanging on, but I think what it really is just a lot of the seam sealer, and I don't want to bend the outer skin at all. Get in here, look, there we go. That popped real nice with my little plastic tool. And so it is allowing me to do a little bit close. It looks like it's mostly just something hanging on up top. So now I can probably flip it up and keep going that direction. So much for the gloves. Back to the gloves. So you can tell I'm not necessarily the best safety conscious person. I try, I have good intentions. They just usually end up here or not on my hands. I'm trying. I think I see it. I thought I wasn't going to have to worry about that. It seems really ridiculous that these 3 spot welds here would be required for the striker plate. But it looks like that piece of metal comes across, up, and over to here. And so that's what's holding that on. Alright, let's see. Ta-da. That's super simple. Whew. Zang. There we go. We've got our skin off of the car. So bottom line, when we work on the other one, we know about this now for this little striker plate where that bolts in. We know about some of the difficult points we had here getting the seam sealer around these. We didn't bend any of this up drastically. Getting this back end off, that's kind of important because that's gonna be required to stay on there and then get put back nice and neat. You know, all of this stuff. So that's why on the car, when we were doing the work back there to get this all straightened up, that's what I was saying, this part to get the trunk needed to all get back to a good shape because this is what was kind of messed up. There is still the opportunity to pull some things off that we may need. I already pointed out that there was there's a airbag sensor here for one of the airbags. There's also a rear seat belt, so we got an extra one of those. Rear seat latch. What else? There are some components under here. Oh, there's plastic clips. Sometimes those come in super handy. And they cost you money and you don't have the right ones. Gosh, it's still heavy. There is some stuff up here in the wheel well that I'm not real sure what that is, but it would be underneath some kind of contraption here that looks like it has a hose on it that would go under the mud guard or whatever you want to call it. So there's a few things here that we might be able to keep and scavenge off of it before we scrap this, along with all the other metal that we're ready to scrap. Next step, I'm not going to lie, is going to make me a little nervous. Actually, having to cut my car. It's got to be done. I know I can do it. It's like just following instructions, following a recipe. So far, that's what I've done to get that off. That just is going to make me nervous because I'm going to be taking a saw to my car and cutting it apart. So probably the first steps will be
get the windshield out of the back, the window out of the back. Windshield's in the front, window is in the back. Need to remove the rear window and get the bumper and all of the goodies off of there so we can cut it and then start working on those same spot welds. That's a lot of work, a lot of spot weld drilling. This little tool works pretty good, but it sure does walk around a lot. It's kind of rounded on the tip. I may try to sharpen it up a little bit, just like I did my other punch. But the nice thing is this, I'll be able to get it off of here, but this bit unscrews off and you can flip it over. So now that I've kind of used up this side of the bit, I can flip it over and use these new teeth to do the whole job on that car. I'm having a good time working on it and taking you through the process here. Hopefully you can learn from it and do some of this stuff yourself. I never would have thought that I'd be taking something like this on, but I'm excited about it. Have the opportunity to use Bondo for the first time in my life coming up whenever I do the rest of this job. So that's going to be a new one for me, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hey guys, I'm Biff. Please remember to subscribe and go ahead and click that like button if you think this is some good stuff. Share it with your friends, and we'll see you next time.